Black people, I know you may not have heard about this, but listen to what the Black Americans did to the United States of America. Something many of you and many Africans don't know. Watch this.
White people abolished slavery over 100 years ago. Blacks, Jews, Chinese still practice slavery. Where's all your virtuous signaling? Or are you just an indoctrinated, self-hating white liberal who doesn't actually know history? I already know the answer. He thinks I don't know history. Sit down, fool. Class is in session. And as pop-tarted as you are, I'm still going to take the time to educate you, because you said white people abolished slavery. Abolish, to formally put an end to. Not a partial end, not a majority end, put an end to. And because this is all about facts over your feelings, Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, which only said the slaves in the Confederate States, the enslaved men and women, would be granted freedom. But that didn't always happen. And it wasn't until Juneteenth, a federal holiday, that Texas actually released about 250,000 enslaved men and women. But that wasn't all that the enslavement that existed in this country, because states like Delaware still had a few thousand slaves, and they wouldn't even ratify their Constitution with the 13th Amendment until 1901. You think white people abolished slavery with the 13th Amendment. I get that, but what they did is they modernized it with something called segregation and Jim Crow laws, which oftentimes made it a crime to be a black American, which would then land you in the judicial and penal system, where the 13th Amendment comes into play again, because neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. Do you understand what I'm saying? Slavery is actually legal still in 19 states. Yeah, dude, facts over feelings. The 13th Amendment has a huge white asterisk placed there by these same white people. If we abolish slavery in the United States, then why does slave labor still bring in about $2 billion? You took the time to write me a 40-word comment, and yet you only got one thing right, and that's that I'm white. Class dismissed.
Good morning, Africans. Good morning, my beautiful people. I love you where you are. Do you love me? I hope you love me, guys. So today, without talking much, I want us to talk about the contribution of Black Americans to the American history. A lot of people don't really acknowledge the importance or the relevance of Black Americans. I think I did a video like this earlier on, and this is part 2 of that video. Now, the contribution of Black people to American history and civilization is vast and deeply woven into the fabric of the nation's identity. From the resilience of enslaved Africans to the achievement of Black leaders in modern times, the impact of Black people is profound. Don't forget, we once had a Black president who was once the most powerful man in history. Now, Black Americans have contributed a lot into the history of America. Now, the early contributions and the relevance of slavery to what we have today happening to Black people. Now, the Black people are Africans. You understand that? When Africans were forcibly brought to America as slaves, they contributed significantly to the economy and the culture of the United States of America. They worked on plantations, particularly in the South, cultivating crops like tobacco, rice, and cotton. Their skills in agriculture, craftsmanship, and building techniques were crucial to the development of the colonies. Now, Black Americans, you like it or you don't like it, they contributed much to the benefit, to the growth of the United States of America. And it's such a nice thing to have a white person acknowledge this, because many white people really don't want to acknowledge the contribution of Black people into the American history. And now, as a case study, I want us to watch this video by this white guy. Let's listen to his interpretation of Black contributions. And then by the end of the video, of course, I shall share with you my thoughts, where we shall also have a deep, critical analysis. So let's dive in.
Hey, white people, stop saying I don't see color. It's not the flex you think it is. Number one, it's just not true. What color am I? Number two, nobody, and I mean nobody, has the same level of melanin in their skin. Not from albino to alabaster to the most beautiful dark shade of ebony. Nobody. Number three, saying I don't see race does not excuse you from uncomfortable subjects dealing with a topic. Just learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Number 4, telling a person with a darker skin tone than you that you don't see skin color is offensive to them. You're literally telling a person who looks different than you, who obviously has pride in their native heritage and the way they look, you're telling them, I don't see you. Stop doing that. Everyone with common sense knows that skin color is a reflection of native heritage, not someone's humanity or lack thereof. It costs you nothing to be kind, respectful, and open-minded to somebody who looks different than you. Oh yeah, number 5, you just look dumb. Have a great day.
If you're still committed to being a racist in America, it sucks for you because you're going to have to give up your smartphone. That's right. A lot of the crucial technology that went into the development of the smartphone was created by Black Americans, and many of them attended historically Black colleges and universities. We'll start with James West, a Hampton University graduate who invented and patented microphone foilet technology, which is used in over 90% of microphones to this day. And the powerhouse, Dr. Shirley Jackson, who got her bachelor's, master's, and PhD in physics from MIT, the first Black American woman to do so. Her work and research led directly to the creation of touch-tone telephones, fiber optics, call waiting, and caller ID, so you don't miss any calls when you're out burning crosses. Mark Hanna advanced 3D graphic technology to the point it's used in everything with a screen, from everything from movies to games that you play on your phone. And Dr. Gladys West, a brilliant mathematician from Virginia State University who helped to figure out the geodetic effect on the Earth, which helped us to enable pinpoint accuracy with GPS. Dr. Valerie Thomas, a hidden figure you've never heard of from Morgan State University, who was so brilliant she helped teach the NASA scientists how to interpret and compute satellite data from the Landsat satellite program, which she headed. She also patented the illusion transmitter, which we know is 3D imaging and is used on just about every screen there is today. Lisa Galofter, one of the most well-known Black American female tech leaders in the world, her and her team are the ones that came up with the animated GIFs that you love to send to your friends. And Mark Dean, one of the chief architects of the first gigahertz computer chip, the first IBM PC, the color monitor, and the industry standard architecture system, aka the ISA. And the OG of them all, Jesse Eugene Russell, a Tennessee State University graduate who led the team at AT&T to create digital wireless networks, taking us out of the radio and analog age into the digital. It's how we use mobile data to this day. And since we know that racists are never hypocrites, we're going to set up drop-off bins in your town where you can drop off these smartphones that there's no way that you can use anymore, so we can give it to people who can appreciate the men and women who created the technology behind it. Have a great day.
You know what happens if you put a black guy and a white guy in the same room at the same time in 1911? Sometimes they go on to change the world. Julius Rosenwald was the CEO and part owner of Sears and Roebuck, and he just happened to be having dinner with a friend one night named Paul Sachs. You might have heard of Paul Sachs' company, Goldman Sachs. And Paul said, Julius, my guy, I got a buddy I want you to meet, but you ought to read his book first. Well, Julius looked at Paul and goes, all right. Now, in the 1900s in Chicago, this book was not easily obtainable for a rich white dude in his neighborhood. He had to search for it because this book was called Up From Slavery by the Black American icon Booker T. Washington. So the white guy, Julius Rosenwald, and the black guy, Booker T. Washington, got together in the same room at the same time in 1911. And they hit it off instantly. After chopping it up for a few minutes, Booker T. looked over at Julius and said, hey, my brother, do you want to change the world? And Julius looked back to Booker T., took off his glasses and said, all right. And change the world they did. They set about building 5,388 schools in 883 counties in 15 states, stretching from Maryland to Texas. And these schools have produced some amazing people that have gone out into the world and done amazing things. People like Congressman John Lewis, the world-famous poet Maya Angelou, and civil rights icon Medgar Evers. And it took a lot to build all these 5,300 plus schools in the South. Now, to pry Booker T away from his beloved Tuskegee Institute, Julius went ahead and endowed the school so that way Booker T would not have to spend near as much time fundraising. And Julius sold enough Sears and Roebuck stock that's the equivalent of $4 million today to create the Rosenwald Fund to build these schools. But to pull this off, Julius and Booker T needed the Black American communities where these schools were going to be built to match the amount of funds they were putting into it. And then they also needed the white municipalities and school districts to agree to manage these schools and then fund them in perpetuity after Booker T and Julius built them. And this was not a perfect system because states like Mississippi valued a white student 13 times that of a black American student. And you should know, black American communities raised almost $5 million in the early 1900s to create these schools for the educational future of their children. Now, these Rosenwald schools were around effectively until the Brown versus the Board of Education ruling by the Supreme Court. But sociologists have been able to look back over the years that these schools existed, and in the hardest hit economically depressed areas had the highest gain in test scores and literacy and reading levels. These schools did amazing things in the communities they were in. Now I want to say thank you to those of you who support and what I do and encourage me on this journey across America as I create conversation awareness about HBCUs and Black American history. And if you wish to continue to support what I'm doing, I'll throw my Cash App up there. I got a GoFundMe link in the bio. And as always, one of the best things you can do for me is to like this video, comment, and share it with people you think might find it interesting. And as always, Black history is American history, and I'll see you on the road.
Now, I promised that I will be delivering a commentary based on what we've just had the white man tell us about the contribution of Black people. I really have much respect for this specific gentleman having to acknowledge that once he was a racist because he had a mindset that was put upon him by the white supremacist culture. You understand? So as I promised, I want us to delve a little bit upon the history of the contribution of Black people in the United States of America based on what the gentleman has said. Now, this is the fight for freedom. The Black people were pivotal in the fight for independence and freedom. Figures like Cyprus Attucks, the first person killed in the Boston Massacre, became symbol of the struggle for liberty. During the Civil Wars, the bravery of Black soldiers such as the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment showcased their commitment to the Union cause and their fight against slavery. Black Americans continued to fight for their rights during the Reconstruction era. Leaders like Frederick Douglass advocated for equality and justice. Despite facing severe discrimination and violence, they made significant strides in education, politics, and business. Black inventors and entrepreneurs like Madam C.J. Walker and Washington George Carver made remarkable contribution to industry and agriculture. We had something that happened during the Harlem Renaissance. The early 20th century saw the rise of the Harlem Renaissance, a cultural movement that celebrated Black art, literature, and music. Figures like Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, and Duke Ellington brought back culture to the forefront of American society, influencing generations that was to come. In the mid-20th century, civil rights movement, which was led by Martin Luther King Jr., we had Malcolm X and Rosa Parks was a pivotal role in the American history. Black Americans fought tirelessly for equal rights, resulting in landmark legislation such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Today, in contemporary times, Black Americans continue to shape the nation's culture, politics, and society. From the arts to sports, business, and beyond, figures like Barack Obama, the first Black president of the United States of America. We have Oprah Winfrey, a media mogul. We have athletes like Serena Williams, and we have also other athletes of basketball like LeBron James. We have Michael Jordan. Such people, they have left indelible marks in the history of Black people in the United States of America. This is what I'd say. The narrative of Black contribution to America's history is one of resilience, innovation, and relentless pursuit of justice and equality. Their legacy is a testament for the enduring spirit of a community that has been well-shaped and will continue to shape the history of America. Such a wonderful thing, and I don't want this video to be long. We've got to see how the history, as promised, we've learned that there's more to Black people that we are not told. There's a lot of inventions that Black people has put into technology we are not told. So it's not, we shouldn't put much more white privilege. We should just see each other as equal. We shouldn't look at people, and we shouldn't look at things that are made in Africa and say, hey, I don't know, this one is made in Africa. No, I want one which has been made in Europe by a white man. Those things which are made in Europe by white men are actually made by Africans. Some parts of those things are made by Africans. Africans who are like you and me. So this notion of brainwash, white privilege, it is us who are placing white privilege. They don't place it upon themselves. We give credit for it. It's time for it to end, and that is the purpose of this video. It's to make you understand that you are valuable just like anyone else. No one is more valuable than you are. That's all for today, guys. If you like this content, kindly, you know what to do. Like the channel, like the video, subscribe, support us on Patreon. Kindly donate something on my Patreon. It helps me a lot. May God grant you more upon that. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.